We back with another visual venture. TikTok trends are destroying your mental health. Huh. Oh, here we go.
This is not normal, right? This person probably has a lot of problems, and I can't believe that people are making this a trend.
A troubling trend on TikTok that could leave some teens believing they have a serious mental disorder.
Just by looking at some of the recent TikTok trends, and you'll see just how toxic this app can really be.
Yes, TikTok trends. Some can be pretty funny, others can be straight up dangerous. The worst ones are the trends that seem harmless but are quietly messing with your mental health.
Okay,
we'll break
let's
down
talk about
specific
it.
trends, starting
Let's
with
talk about
strange
it.
ones and work our way to the ones doing the most damage. All right, guys, so it is almost the end of the year, and my goal is still the same: increase the number of videos we put out without sacrificing quality.
Like,
indie world,
subscribe,
and I will do my very best to make
Shout
this
out
goal
Visual
a
V.
reality for you guys. I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome.
Thanks, man.
The homeless man photo.
Uh-oh.
The AI homeless man prank went viral in mid-2025. I mean, when I saw this myself, I thought it was pretty funny, but we can't ignore that it caused psychological damage for some. Here's how it worked. Teenagers took photos of their bedrooms or living rooms. Then they used AI to edit the images, making it look like a stranger was inside their home. But not just any stranger, a homeless man. The results looked disturbingly real. Once the edits were ready, the prankster sent the images to their parents.
And then sending it to a family member, leading them to think someone broke into their home.
What followed was panic. Parents thought the photo was real. Some were scared, others were mad, and a lot of them called 911.
Here's one TikToker showing cops leave their house after pranking their mom, saying the homeless man was asking for money.
That was the entire concept. Scare your parents with a fake AI intruder, film their reaction, and post it online.
The joke is supposed to be the reaction people have
You
to the
kids are
pictures.
TikTok
weird.
loved it. Soon the hashtag homeless man prank reached 124 million views. Every new post tried to push the limits. They made the homeless intruder more threatening and more realistic. Soon it went beyond parents. TikTokers pranked their spouses or roommates. And as usual, they filmed the reactions.
Why would you let somebody into the house? Even if somebody comes to the house and say, oh, they are my friend or something, you attend to them outside the house.
Some even created elaborate backstories about why they let the homeless man in. They were just trying to get a more interesting reaction.
Who is at the house?
I felt really bad because this guy knocked on the door and he looked like he was in need of help, really wanted water, so I let him come in for a little bit.
But as the video spread,
And those y'all who are watching this video, and shout out Visual Venture for, shining light on these things to, give the other side. Please do your best. Please, seriously, I mean this in every place in my heart. Please do your best to not view these situations as the majority. Please, I'm telling you. This shit, these people, this shit, it's actually not real. It is a literal smoking mirror. You can put your finger right in the middle of it, right in the middle, and it just evaporates. Like, it's not actually there. I'm telling you, please don't view this shit as real, because it's not.
experts began warning about an invisible danger. This trend didn't just scare people for a few seconds. It obviously caused a serious mental distress. I mean, just imagine yourself in the situation. When someone believes an intruder has entered their home, they panic. Some people experienced full-blown panic attacks before realizing the image wasn't real. But for the sake of YouTube, we can't show those extreme reactions, but they are on TikTok. For older adults, like most parents in these videos, extreme stress can trigger heart problems. But the harshest warning came from law enforcement. Police called the prank stupid and potentially dangerous.
Let's just say you do respond and you have a weapon. Somebody can get serious. Your own personal family member can be seriously injured.
Even with all the warnings, the trend didn't stop, so the police took action. In October 2025, Ohio police arrested 2 teenagers for faking home invasions with the AI homeless photo. In both cases, police were called to the home only to realize it was a joke. The sheriff's office made it clear. This behavior is not a prank, it's a crime. And AI seems to be trying to stop this homeless man prank too. When NBC reporters asked ChatGPT to generate an image of a homeless man in my home, it refused to. ChatGPT replied, "I can't create or edit an image like that. It would involve depicting a real or implied."
So now we're having AIs with morality and ethics, or at least a integrated code of morals and ethics. Wow. All right. All right.
A person in a situation of homelessness. If AI tools keep blocking these kinds of requests, this trend might disappear soon. But the psychological harm it causes to homeowners won't disappear so easily. This next trend turned no sleeping into something people should aspire to do. The toxic productivity trend. Toxic productivity is the idea that you must be productive at all times. It's about not letting a minute of your day be wasted.
What the fuck
and
is this
TikTok
about?
is full of videos pushing that message. Okay, so let me be clear. I am all for productivity. I believe that in order to achieve something great, you gotta work really hard and really smart. Being
I'm about to
productive
make a
is
video
great
about
thing,
this.
But toxic productivity is something else. People push themselves to unhealthy extremes in order to accomplish more, often at the expense of their health. And you do not want to sacrifice health. But TikTok's algorithm kept feeding the productivity obsession. Soon people were being shown endless videos.
These are bots. These are not real people. These are not real people, bro.
With extreme productivity hacks. TikTokers giving productivity advice probably mean well. The problem starts when viewers take those routines and push them too far. The perfect example is the sleep is for the weak mindset. These videos show people staying up all night to work, bragging about not needing rest. Losing sleep becomes a badge of honor. And it gets worse. There's a trend called 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5. You'll see people trying to finish a full list of tasks before 9 a.m. By the time their actual job begins at 9, they're already exhausted. Last but not least, the that girl trend. The hashtag amassed over 1.6 billion views. The trend encouraged women to become hyper-productive girl bosses.
What?
I mean, it sounds respectable, but there is one major problem. Most people can't sustain that kind of schedule without burning out. Eventually, creators started speaking out. They made
That's stupid. That girl, that dumbass girl, that girl boss, that's stupid. Y'all stupid. That's dumb as hell.
videos and blogs rejecting toxic productivity. One writer put it this way: when you push yourself too hard for too long, it's easy to start measuring your self-worth by how much you can get done. You start to feel guilty for wasting time on activities you used to enjoy. And I'm guilty of this too. Spending time with friends feels like falling behind. Even sleeping starts to feel like a waste of time. And the result? Burnout. Burnout isn't just feeling tired, it's a complete physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. Many who tried the that girl lifestyle reported feeling exhausted.
This is so, I'm not gonna say what it really is, but this is so, this is so very, very fruity, man. This is so fruity because
happy and overwhelmed with guilt. More creators join the conversation calling for change.
Issue is more around this kind of societal acceptance we have of prioritizing productivity, prioritizing self-care in a way that's actually kind of destructive.
To make things worse, many of these perfect productivity videos aren't even real. They're staged to look impressive.
People who post these very aspirational versions of themselves online and then expect us to believe that that's who they are.
Again, I believe that hard and smart work is the key to success, but real productivity requires balance. You work hard
because it flows into digital consumerism, digital capitalism. Hello. So now all these little janky ass products and these mochas and these coffees and these creamers and these masks and these head massagers and a lot of this stupid dumb ass shit. Everything is infusing your brain. Everything.
Then you rest. You give your best, then you recover. And fun fact, the best ideas come when you're not working. This next trend made exploding with anger look normal.
That's a fact.
Crashing out. For a long time, crash out meant going to sleep very quickly because you were exhausted. But in early 2024, TikTok gave it an entirely different meaning.
Crashing out is when you lose all self-control with no care in the world about any of the consequences to follow.
For those of you who don't know, simply put, it means becoming suddenly uncontrollably angry or distressed. On TikTok, this wasn't just slang. It was a trend that made young people think violent outbursts were okay. In 2024, videos with the hashtag crashing out spread across TikTok. They encouraged reckless behavior. The message was simple: stop holding it together, lose control. This trend took off. Soon TikTok was filled with videos of people screaming, having emotional outbursts, or acting erratic. People recorded themselves breaking down over work, school, or relationships. They were crashing out for views. Within months, the hashtag crossed 1 billion views. This trend was horrible for mental health, teaching people that it's okay to act like this. Therapists said the trend made people absorb the idea that emotional crashing is a valid coping strategy. In other words, it rewired how people handled stress. Instead of learning self-control, people were performing their meltdowns for an audience. Despite the warnings, the trend only got more popular. The more dramatic the meltdown, the more engagement it got. The crashing out trend even had its own anthem. It was a viral sound called "Let It Burn." The lyrics told listeners to burn it all to the ground. And that's exactly what many did. Crashing out videos showed people making impulsive and destructive decisions. They quit their jobs without notice, ended friendships, and lashed out at family. Each crash out brought only a temporary wave of relief, attention, and validation, but it also left behind real consequences: broken relationships, lost opportunities, and lasting regret. It's normal to feel frustrated, but crashing out is not the solution. When you're faced with a problem, use your brain, not your heart. Up next is a trend that left thousands of people living in constant fear: the Kia Challenge.
What the
The Kia
shit?
Challenge started with a video of someone
Kia boy.
breaking the law. On July 2022, a TikToker filmed themselves hot wiring a car. The trick only worked for Kia and Hyundai models, but it was shockingly simple. Filming a crime was reckless enough, but what came next was far worse. People were inspired to do the same. A group of young boys saw the clip and decided to try it. They filmed themselves hot wiring cars and driving off. They even gave themselves a nickname.
They're called the TikTok Kia Boys. Teens like these four stealing cars and using them to commit violent crime.
Soon, other young people joined in. TikTok was flooded with stolen car videos.
They're saying it is called the Kia Challenge. It's targeting cars, leading to more thefts.
The hashtag got millions of views. But the damage wasn't just the stolen cars, it was what it did to people's minds. Kia and Hyundai owners were living with constant anxiety. Every morning began with the same question: will my car be next? People checked their driveways multiple times a day. Some had trouble sleeping at night. Others said they couldn't focus at work because they kept thinking about their car. Psychologists have a name for this: hypervigilance. It's when the brain stays on high alert, scanning for danger that might not even exist, and it's mentally draining. That kind of fear changes people. They change their routines, avoid certain places, they stop feeling safe even at home. But the mental stress was worse for those whose cars were actually stolen. Researchers studied the psychological impact of car theft. One woman whose car was stolen said, "I have PTSD now. I wake up in the middle of the night, sometimes crying with nervousness." The news coverage made things worse. Tens of thousands of Kias and Hyundais were stolen. Some had their cars stolen twice in one day.
A woman in Highland Park found out the hard way recently, just a few days ago in broad daylight. Her 2017 Hyundai was stolen where it was parked outside her second job.
Each new story reminded people that they could be next.
It's super frustrating, it sounds like. Now I have to be careful where I park and pay attention, and it's going to change where we'll probably take my wife's car.
Some considered even selling their cars because of the constant paranoia. The police began cracking down on the crimes.
Locally, Arlington police say they've made several arrests and stress auto theft in Texas is a felony, which many young people might not realize.
Under heavy pressure, TikTok finally intervened. They took down the videos showing how to hotwire cars, and most importantly, TikTok banned the Kia Challenge. Slowly, the trend died out, and for the first time in months, car owners could finally relax again. This trend didn't just steal cars, it stole peace of mind. It turned something as ordinary as owning a car into a source of anxiety. This next trend turned something completely natural into something terrifying: the aged filter. For the sake of your mental health, don't waste your time using the TikTok aged filter. This headline warned people to stay away from a viral TikTok filter, and they had a good reason. The filter was called Aged. It was released in 2023. The aged filter used AI to predict how users would look when they were old. It showed faces covered with wrinkles and saggy skin. At first, only a few users tried it. Then celebrities joined in and it got really popular.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Soon, everyone wanted to see their future face. The hashtag aged filter crossed 1.2 billion views. People laughed at the results. Some resembled their parents or grandparents. It was all fun until the tone shifted. The trend surprisingly made young people terrified of aging. TikTokers began panicking after using the age filter. One woman stared at her aged face in disbelief.
Really? this is how I'm going to look like.
The reaction wasn't unusual. It was becoming the norm. One viral clip showed a 14-year-old kid explaining what they are doing to stay looking young. Another wrote, "I'm 18, but I feel like I'm past my prime. I only have
what the fuck?
So many years left before I start decaying and become ugly and sad."
It's not real.
TikTokers
It's not
started
real.
making plans
real.
to stop themselves from looking old.
It's not
Posts
real.
appeared everywhere.
18.
Getting Botox on Tuesday for the first time. Bought $200 worth of skincare products after. Doctors warned people not to take the filter too seriously.
Just seeing the filter alone should be an immediate button for you to then call your local provider and just immediately go and get Botox.
But their warnings couldn't slow the panic. Millions already believed that aging was something to prevent, not accept. Even worse, that fear spread to children. Kids who hadn't finished growing up were now terrified of growing old. This next trend made people comfortable living in filth. Bed rotting. The bed rotting trend started in 2023. It was a simple concept. It meant spending much or even all of your day in bed by choice. People could scroll on their phones, listen to music, and eat junk food. The goal was to relax completely. No plans, no pressure, no productivity.
I could rot in bed all day. Like, there's nothing that is gonna get me out of bed.
For those who were stressed out, bed rotting seemed like the perfect escape. Videos showed cozy bedrooms, soft blankets, and snacks within reach. The hashtag bed rotting racked up an insane 900 million views. It
Lazy
looked harmless,
motherfuckers,
even comforting. But the longer it went on, the darker it got. People weren't just resting for a day or two, they were shutting down for weeks at a time. Bed rotting slowly turned into extreme laziness. It became an excuse to stay in bed for unreasonably long periods of time. The first sign of trouble was the filth.
This is not normal, right? This person probably has a lot of problems, and I can't believe that people are making this a trend.
People were living in rooms that were flooded with trash. Photos showed rotting food, dirty clothes, and moldy dishes.
They have cups laying around their room just filled with mold because they're just bed rotting.
Some slept on mattresses covered in junk. This trend convinced people that neglecting themselves was somehow healing. But the clutter and dirt weren't the only dangers. The real harm came from the physical and mental damage caused by lying in bed for days. Bed rotters developed medical conditions usually seen in the elderly or bedridden. One TikToker shared her story.
So I think I'm bed rotting a little too hard. I think I got bed sores on my hips.
Bed sores form when pressure cuts off blood flow to the skin. They're common in people who can't move or turn themselves, not in healthy young adults. And that was only the physical side. The emotional effects were worse. People believed that bed rotting was supposed to relieve stress and improve mental health, but the opposite happened. Sleep doctors warned that bed rotting disrupted normal sleep cycles, and that led to chronic fatigue and insomnia. And I don't think it takes a doctor to know that laying in bed all day makes you feel terrible. Companies even began sponsoring bed rotting content. They turned it into a competition.
I am privileged to be the host of the second Bed Rot Challenge by Cozy Earth.
That company offered $25,000 to whoever could stay in bed the longest. By 2024, researchers discovered that nearly a quarter of Gen Z admitted to practicing bed rotting. Sadly, the trend is still active today. Everyone needs rest, but bed rotting isn't recovery. It's ruining your mental health. This next trend was supposed to heal people.
Oh my
It broke
gosh.
them instead. I grieve different.
I don't know how
In
much more I can
2024,
take.
TikTok turned trauma into entertainment. It was part of a trend called the same formula. Good news first, horrible news second. It was a pain for views system. The more tragic the confession, the more engagement it got. The I grieve different hashtag reached 130 million views.
I don't know how much more I can take, bro.
Soon, psychologists saw the trend and they were horrified. The biggest reason was that people were monetizing the dark parts of their private lives.
I can't. Listen.
Looks like when I put the filter back on. Yeah. No way.
The bold glamour filter set an impossible standard. It reprogrammed people's minds, making normal faces. This next trend.
A girl dinner. Okay. This last one will do, Visual Vince. I can't take no more of this, bro. I can't take no more of this,
encouraged
bro.
people to starve themselves. Girl dinner.
This is my meal. I call this girl dinner. Girl dinner. Girl dinner.
Girl dinner was more than a TikTok trend. It was so popular that Popeyes launched a special menu inspired by it. But behind the catchy name was something dangerous. It all began when a TikToker shared a fun fact about medieval peasants. She researched that peasants had nothing to eat but bread and cheese. They rarely cooked big meals. Inspired by that, she filmed her own meal.
This is my dinner. I call this girl dinner or medieval peasant.
Her idea was relatable. It was a quick, low-effort meal for people who didn't want to cook. Putting it together took just a few minutes and practically no energy. Her video went viral, and it started the girl dinner trend. Others,
like me too, girl. Me as fuck, girl. Me.
Posted their own girl dinners, mostly snacks, fruits, and leftovers. Soon, the girl dinner hashtag hit 7.1 billion views. The idea seemed innocent enough, until it started causing mental health issues. Over time, the idea behind girl dinner shifted. TikTokers began competing to see who could eat the least. Someone posted a few strawberries as her girl dinner. Others called ice cubes their dinner. One person claimed sleep was their girl dinner. They were real posts with thousands of likes. People in the comments praised them for being disciplined, but it wasn't discipline, it was unhealthy, and it led people to have serious eating issues. By 2024, headlines were calling it Gen Z's disturbing new trend. Despite the warnings, the hashtag hasn't disappeared. Social media has a way of making the extreme feel normal. Push yourself to burnout, that's dedication. Eat nothing, that's discipline. Blame yourself for cancer, that's manifestation. But somewhere along the way, we forgot to ask, is this okay? Visual venture. All right, so we talked about TikTok trends destroying mental health, but there's a video.
Hey, my dog, Visual Venture, another great video, man. Already liked, already subscribed. Catch you on the next one.